And I'm kind of able to have this high degree of interactivity because I took a couple of my objects here and chose to display them as a box. These are objects that are high poly count objects, and they would be getting in my way of doing all kinds of fancy stuff like this if I had them displayed. So see these red boxes here? Those little red boxes are actually bushes. And I've chosen to display them as a box because otherwise, as I said, I wouldn't be able to get the interactivity that I'm able to get right now because they have a lot of polygons involved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the box, which now represents a bush with leaves and everything, and I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to go to Object Properties. And you can see under Object Properties there's a lot. Several tabs across the top applying to various aspects of rendering, advanced lighting, and mental ray. Those are something that we'll get into way later. You can change the name here, you can change the wireframe color here, just like you can here. But also what you can do is you can choose to hide it, but you can also have display properties here. The one that I'm using is display as box. So if I uncheck that, and there's a whole bunch of other properties here. These display properties, these apply to the 3D view only. So it won't render as a box. It will render as a bush. But in the viewport display, you can choose to display certain aspects of it. Vertex ticks, if you want to see the vertices all the time on it. You can show a trajectory if it has an animation hooked up to it. And then you have a separate rendering control. And that rendering control is where you would describe exactly to the renderer. Does it render at all? Does it cast or receive shadows? But for now, I'm going to turn off display as box. And then you'll see it shows in the viewport as this incredibly dense polygonal bush. And the same with this one. So I can go to Object Properties and turn off display as box as well. And now my viewport is going to start getting a little chunky, my viewport interactivity. And if I draw the other two not as a box, it'll be even worse. And 3D Studio has this thing. Click on one of these bushes here. And then when I right click over it, 3D Studio has this thing called a quad menu, or right now it's kind of like a tri menu, but truthfully, honestly, it is a quad menu. But if you click over an object here, you can get some commands that you might frequently use to that object. So you'll see here there's a transform section, there's a display section, there's a tools 1, and there sometimes is a tools 2 section down here. And this will allow me to quickly go to move, rotate, scale, select similar tools. Also the clone tool I can get to really quickly here, but also in this case object properties. Now the object properties are going to come up without having to go to edit object properties. Well, that's fine, but what you can also do is you can right click. So if I just click right here in the title of it, I can pick whatever is blue. It's a quick shortcut to that last chosen command. But I can also choose to hide it. So I can hide selected. So I can take that and hide it. Now I can also pick this one, that bush there, and go out and then hide selection again, but I don't have to go all the way up there because it's blue. I can just click right here and it will do that operation that's listed in blue. You can also get to the show and hide tools by coming over here in the command panel. And here you have access to all of them. So you can hide by category. I can choose to hide all my lights, all my cameras, shapes. So if I want to hide that path that's kind of snaking through the alley and getting in my way quite a bit, I can hide shapes categorically. But I can also hide selected things, so I can pick things specifically and hide them. I can hide unselected things, so I could isolate things. I could hide by hit, which is a tool that then I can take and hide specific pieces of things or things that I click on. Now I can choose to unhide everything that I've hidden, or I can unhide by name, and it'll pop up a very similar dialog box to the select by name dialog. And then I can choose to take those things that I had hidden previously and unhide them. Now, if I pick multiple things and I go to Object Properties, either there or through the quad menu, it'll tell me I have multiple selected, and I can pick multiple things and affect their properties simultaneously. So if I want to choose those high density things and choose to display them as a box, I know they're there, they'll render, but they aren't going to get in my way of a nice speedy viewport here. So we just pull this up into QuickTime and hit play. What I've done is rendered out my series of frames with lighting, with textures, made a movie, got the animation on there, got the dust blowing in the wind, and path animation on the bag, modifier animation on it as well. We've got that implied noise animation in the modifier of the noise modifier of the water, and got a little American Beauty moment going on here. Look at the bag, it's beautiful. And only I can see it because I'm introspective.